Well, hello, welcome everyone to episode 4 of our Devtober devlogs. My still untitled baby game is in quite a nice state now. Just in our main world script here, I've just created this little to-do list to keep track of things now. So the game is currently being tested by a few carefully selected play testers, because I know it's pretty unbalanced at the moment. I've already got a list of things for my own testing that I want to do. And massive shout outs to Listless Onion. I'll tag his channel in the description of this video. He's already done a huge amount of playtesting for me and been absolutely invaluable, so big yourself up, Listless. And everyone should go check out his channel, it's awesome. Okay, and you can see there's a load of artwork to do, so I'm planning on doing a live stream to do a load of pixel art to just kind of make the game look pretty. At the moment, the gameplay looks kind of how I want it to look, but all the menus are placeholders. So all these menu screens and things we're going to be working on. But the thing I wanted to show you today in the devlog is actually about terrain generation. Because you may have seen from all the previous videos, we were basically playing on a stock map that I just painted in. If we open the world scene here, and look at it, if you remember from previous videos, all of the tile sets here, red rugs, the green boxes, and so on and so forth, yellow boxes, well, you can see they're still around the edge of the map, and there's a little kind of standard bit of carpet and a few blocks in the middle. But the rest of it's now completely blank, and that's because all the rest of the stuff in the world that you can see from the clips I'm cutting to now are actually generated each time a new wave begins. So every time the world scene is loaded, you get a fresh one. And this is probably, again, for anyone who's experienced and good at coding, I imagine looking at this might make you sigh and shake your head, but hopefully not too much. I think it's pretty clever what I'm doing. So when the world scene is ready, that's when we do it all. First thing we do is we randomize, which means that you don't get the same world every time. I've split the world into what I'm calling chunks, which is basically 8 by 8 cells, and a cell is 8 by 8 pixels. No, 16 by 16, aren't they? These tiles, yes, these tile sets are 16 by 16. So we have cells, which are these 16 by 16 areas that the tiles actually are painted onto, and you'll see the blocks and the tile sets, all use that 16 by 16. And then 8 by 8 of those cells makes a chunk. So first thing I knew I needed to do was just put some random carpet. And carpet can go anywhere because it doesn't have a collider. The carpet just adds variety to our background. And so that's the first bit here, I think, is the red rug. Yep. So we say for all of the chunks in 6, because we're 6 chunks wide by 6 chunks tall. And for all of the chunks going in the Y direction in 6. So again, we're nesting for loops. Then we get a chance of placing rug. We get a random number, which is 1 in 10, and then we say if that number is greater than or equal to 8. So it's actually a 1 in 5 chance we're going with here. The others are more complicated. The other things, because the things that we can collide with, we have to be careful about where we place them. For example, I mean, this would be bad, right? If the player was just trapped inside a box. So another thing would be bad would be like that, right? If the enemies were spawning inside an area they couldn't get out of. So we had to come up with some way of ensuring that the map is always one open space. And so you can see we've kind of got 4 quarters here of the arena. So we're just going to talk about 1 quarter, but they all work the same, reflected around the center. And the first thing to say is that we don't spawn anything in this chunk. In that 8 by 8 chunk there, we just don't spawn anything at all because it's the center of the pitch, center of the play area. We want this whole carpet to be clear for the player to spawn in and stuff. And we also never spawn in the top corner here either. This is where the enemies can spawn, and we don't want them spawning on top of a colliding block, right? So this whole area here needs to be free from anything as well. So that leaves us with this kind of shape here. is this is the area within which we can spawn stuff that things can collide with. But obviously we wouldn't want this completely full of obstacles either, because then the player starting in the middle would never be able to access the enemies spawning in the corner. So we also need to guarantee there's a way to reach this corner from the center. So clearer if I draw the second square in a different color, but there we go. So we've either got yellow or we've got green, and if you think the same goes for here, there's either that square or that square and so on, all the way around. And we just basically say that we only spawn objects that you can collide with in one of these two squares, which guarantees like a path either from, from the spawning point, either through the yellow square's pathway, or we get a way through the green, because we're only ever spawning in either. This looks confusing now with the red square in the middle, but we're only spawning obstacles either in yellow or in green, but never in both. That's how I decided where things spawn in, and then it's very similar to the carpet. Then once we've made the rules about where things can and can't spawn, we just use the same sort of nested for loops as I showed you with the carpet. So look, we've got chances for the different zones, and they all become vectors, and those vectors are just coordinates basically for where the chunks would be. We then get into our nested for loops, and so we have ones for the boxes here, and it's randomly chosen between this array of the different colors of boxes. And then this nested for loops here is for the box, the numbers, the little bricks that say 1, 2, and 3 on them. And then we just update the bit mask regions, which is basically this was a very important thing to discover here. Now this might be a bit strange to look at if you've not seen it before, but this is basically a way of teaching the game where this is my tile set here, and this teaches the engine where to use which tiles depending on whether they're surrounded by different things or not. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't, but those, you just have to trust me. Those red markers on here I can add and remove, change that. I don't know if I explained that very well, but yes, it was crucial anyway to find in the code this way of updating the bit mask region, so it just looks at all the blocks it's placed and goes, okay, which tiles actually am I using there? And that's what I wanted to show off today, and it works. And you can see from the few of the clips I've cut into the episode today, you can see how that creates quite a nice amount of variety in the worlds, and it definitely makes the game more challenging because you never know what situation you're going to be spawning into, and you can end up in dead ends and things like that. But I quite like that, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to balancing the game itself. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying watching the development continue, and expect some live streams on pixel art soon, and expect a future devlog in the coming days with our sort of bullet points from all the playtesting and our kind of agenda on balancing gameplay in preparation for the game being released. Alright then, thanks so much, take care, subscribe, like, share, peace.